G'day everybody and welcome back. So I've got parts out of my brother's bandsaw here. He's conned me into fixing and modifying. This bandsaw he picked up a little while ago apparently, and it's had a life. Previous owners give it a fair nudge. It needs a new shaft and the pulley needs boring as well. So where do I start? I've got to bore this pulley out till it cleans up. The previous owner has ran this bandsaw, as you can see, it goes in the other way, you donkey. Okay, as you can see, there's a fair bit of play in that bore. So the inside of this bore here is pretty munted. So I've got to bore it out until it cleans up. The way the bearings work is one bearing sits there, another one the same, which is a 6005 bearing, sits on the other side here, and the frame of the bandsaw is in the middle. And then you've got this bearing on the outside, which runs attachments off that square drive, and obviously the pulley goes up in there. So you've got a bearing here, another bearing there, which I'm waiting for that one to arrive. That'll be here tomorrow. Yeah, bearing, and then an outer bearing. So what we plan on doing is, because these bearings have to have a sleeve in it to take up the shaft, that's the way the original ones were. I'm going to bore the centre of this out till it cleans up, which I'm hoping make it a nominal 19.5mm, and I'll build the sleeve for the bearings to suit the shaft. This bearing will stay the same, which is the 6203. As you can see, that's pretty slop fit too, but make that tighter when we make the new one. Now, in this pulley, the grub screw over the keyway is munted and locked up. It's seized in there, and yeah, it's just screwed. So the previous owner has drilled and tapped another hole, threaded another hole there for a grub screw that just locks down onto the shaft, and that's how they were running it. So I'm planning on broaching another keyway underneath that second hole and disregard this first bloody keyway. So we just broach a new key after I've cleaned the inside of it up, and whatever that turns out to be, that's what I'll make these sleeves and the new shaft to be. So hopefully 19.5mm, but it's just important that I get this trued up so this pulley does spin true to the shaft. That's a bit of a wild way of explaining it, but yeah. There's another feature on this shaft here. There's a cross hole. Now he said that there was a roll pin in there that stuck out each side, and he said he can't work out why it was, because these bearings, when they go in, the sleeve they have in them stick out the side about 13mm or something, he said. I've got the dimensions written down, and they have a grub screw that lock down onto the shaft. So he said that hole doesn't need to be there, and he can't work out why they had a roll pin in it. He reckons because everything was that munted and worn, they stuck a roll pin in there to stop it floating. So that's what his theory was. But anyway, we don't need that cross hole, we just need a new shaft with a key and these features on the end. So this one's going to be a little bit interesting, I think. So hopefully I can make it all work. Okay, so here's my setup to get it indicated in. I can't put it in the lathe because my chucks ain't big enough. So I've put a centre stud through and just lightly nipped it down, indicated it, and once I'm happy, Then I'll just put these over the sides and hold it down on the parallels that way. And then I can take this centre stud out, then bore it. So I've got it pretty much clocked in. It's the best I can get it. It's within half a division, so that's going to be plenty good enough. So I can break this down now. I'll set these up, lock these down on each side. And then set the boring bar up and bore it out. It was the only sort of way I could really think to get it set up, if you know what I mean. Rightio, I have got, well, I've touched off, I've got the head set, so it's going to run a pass down. It's going to be an interrupted cut, just on a fine feed, and see how it turns out. See if I can show you what that bore looks like. You can see, I don't know whether you can see in there or not how bad that bore is. .62. Might just take it out to 20, and then that's a nominal number then, isn't it? Need to go 0.185. Oh yeah, silly bugger, went too far. It's 0.18, we'll leave it at that. There's no doubt it probably will go over size a fraction. That was more arse than class, let me tell you. 20mm on the knocker. That was luck, more than anything. Well, that took longer to set that up than it actually did to do the job. So anyway, that's that part done. I do have to broach that key in there, and I'll have to make up a custom brooch for there, like a broaching guide for it. But I'll probably make the guide off camera. Okay, for some reason I had a piece of 13/16 shaft laying around. I don't know where it come from, but it measures 20.63, which is 13/16. I could have just bored that pulley out to match this shaft and wouldn't have had to worry about machining it, but when you spin it, it's like it's got a slight flat spot in in one area, we'll just machine this down to 20mm. So running the Daintree center, I've done a little I've done a little cut here at the start just to get me, or to set me DRO, and I put that center in to start with because I had a different tool. Instant chatter. Swapped over to the Daintree and the chatter's gone. And fair enough, I did change the tool, but I was used with a TNGG insert. I got chatter with that other center. I went to a DCGT insert and no chatter. It's cutting beautifully. I've got it sticking out long enough. I'm going to run a pass down just at a slow feed, and hopefully it doesn't vibrate in the middle. I'll check it for taper on if I go through at that dimension, I'll be 0.43 up on dimension. So I do have a little bit of time to adjust the tailstock if need be. Over 340mm, I have got 2 thou taper. Narrow this end, bigger this end, so I have a bit of a fiddle around with the tailstock and try and get that out. And I've got 0.43 of a mil, so just under half a mil to get it right. So that'll be a challenge, eh? That's a thou. Nip it back up. Okay, I'll take another pass and see what it does. I just really hope I went the right way on that adjustment of the tailstock then, eh? So it's 20.33. It's 20.28. A bit of a think here and see where I've gone wrong, because now the taper's going the other way. Okay, I've done a bit of fiddling around. So that's measuring 20.20, 20.18, so 0.02 the difference, and 20.17. So it's 0.03 the difference from end to end. A bit of a rub with some emery will take that difference out. So I don't think I'm going to chase it anymore with the tailstock. Take the last 0.2 off. At most it'll be a thou out from end to end over 344mm. For what it's going to do, I think that'll be fine. This is where you find out whether you're going to start again or you got it on the dot. So we've got 20.01, 19.995, 19.99. Might just run a little bit of emery across this end here, get that 0.01 out, and everything should fit. Okay, I just spent 2 seconds with a bit of emery. So it's a whisker under 20 mil. So that is done. That shaft, I can part that off to length and then put the features in for the small bearing and the square end and the keyway. Overall length is 330 mil. So I'm going to go 332, and I just got a bit to machine off when I do part it off. So I have to take 2 mil off the end of this face to start with. Okay, that's to length. Now I've just got to work out the dimensions for this square section and the bearing fit. Okay, for a length of 24 mil, has to be 7 down to 17. Yeah, 16.99. I think that'll go with a bit of a tap. Right, our next dimension is for length of 12 down to 15 mil. We'll get that one on the number, 15 neat. That can come out there now and go over to the mill and put the key in, or the slot for the keyway. Okay, just out of curiosity, how's that? Perfect fit. Love it when a plan comes together. It's running pretty square, I reckon. Probably a lot squarer than what it was originally. Rightio, so off camera I made up a bush to run this 5mm brooch through, and theoretically it should have a 6mm key, but I don't have a 6mm brooch, I've only got a 5mm. I've lined it up with that set screw. I don't have any 5mm key steel, and I went to try and buy a bit in town and there was none in stock, so I'm going to have to make a piece. So just got to broach this, which is going to take a fair bit of time with this mongrel press setup. I don't like this press at all for this. There's too much slop in this press. There's just heaps of slop. Time this extension goes on the ram. It hasn't been a very good press from day dot, and I need to either make a new one or buy a decent one. And I'm out of length on the ram. Now the ram's bound up. Oh, this thing gives me the shits. Got a bit of jiggling around here to get that ram to go back. It locks up when it goes to full length, like full travel on the ram. It'll bind up and it won't retract itself until you give it a gentle persuasion. I've got a big rag bag under the press, so if it does decide to drop out, well, it's going to fall on something if I don't manage to catch it. And I caught it. Okay, I've just stuck a shim in that. I'll leave it at that and just make the key to suit. Okay, I've got this obviously mounted in the vise. I've just got to cut that keyway, find centre, and then put up a 5mm end mill and then cut it back to this blue line because that's the same length as what the original one was. And then after that I've got to put the square on the end here too. So that'll be a different setup. Okay, that's keyways done. The phone rang halfway through and I was on the phone while I was doing that last cut, so I didn't record it. Come up pretty nice, but okay, I've got a bit of 6mm key here, key steel, so I'm just going to knock off a mil off the top, a mil off the side, and cut it off at 30mm long. And that'll be the key. The measurements I've done with the pulley and the shaft together, it's as good as 5mm square. I've got that key. It's only just sitting in there. It's tight. It's cut to length, so that's this pulley's going to go way up the shaft here. So anyway, that part's done. Okay, the last thing to do on this shaft is to form this square drive. That's 7.5mm thickness. So this is a 15mm diameter. So I've got to take 3.75 off each side. That'll give me a 7.5mm left, if my maths are correct. I'll flip it over and do the other side. And that, my friends, should be it. We are 0.05 under, so overcut it by 0.05. And that was probably to do with the touch off. Might have touched off a bit heavy. Anyway, I'm sure it's going to do the job. If not, it's not my problem. It's his problem. My brother's problem. Okay, we have these bearings I have to make a sleeve for. So it'll be a step sleeve from 29mm down to 25, and then with a 20mm bore through the guts to fit onto this shaft. So it'll be a light press fit into the bearing and a slide fit over the shaft with a bit of luck. And then just a grub screw on each side of the larger part of the flange, on the larger part of the sleeve there'll be a grub screw to lock it to the bearing. So I have a piece of chrome bar here to make it out. I'm going to make 2 of them, so get them built, and that's the last bit of the job. That's all I've got to do. First dimension is 29mm for a length of 25. Okay, that is down to 29.5. Now for a length of 11.9 has to go down to 25 to be a slip fit in that bearing. .05, and I may just have to emery that down once it cools down a bit, because I want it to be a slight push fit into that bearing, but I do have to bore the guts out to 20mm. So I'll just chamfer these 2 edges and then I'll work on the guts in. Drill that out to 11/16. Okay, I'll set up a boring bar now and bore that out. Okay, so I've just measured using the ball mic. It measures 19.62. I've got to take light cuts because it gets, this bar's probably a bit too big and it gets chip bound. So just taking light cuts, and I'm shooting for 20.03 or 20.02. So when the gets pushed into the bearing, that tiny bit of crush is not going to affect the fit on the shaft. I think that's what my theory is anyway. That should have been the final pass. I'll show you. 20.023. So that should fit that shaft pretty good. I just got to chamfer this edge, part it off, and then I might just run a bit of emery over that and make it look a bit cleaner. Otherwise my brother will pick crap out of me because, oh, look at the shit finish. These have to be 25mm long, so I'll go half a mil longer than what it should be, and then a bit to face off. Pared off quite nicely, considering there was no oil or coolant or anything. 0.45 to come off. There's our sleeve. So I'm going to make another one of these off camera. I've got to put them in the mill and then just drill and tap a hole for a set screw to lock this on the shaft. So then they can be pressed into the bearings. Yeah? So I've picked up off centre. These bearings have like a metal shield on each side that just hold the bearing in place, like a cup. So I might just go 5mm. 4.5. I'm going to put an M6 set screw in, 2 of them, 90 degrees to each other. Okay, flip that 90 degrees and do it again. That's one done. Okay, swap that out, put the next one in and knock it out, and then this job's complete. Okay, it's time to push these little sleeves in. So, little arbor press is handy, I tell you. Little stuff like this. That went in alright. It's not protruding. That was the only sort of bearings I could get, Nashi bearings made in Taiwan or Thailand. That's all they had in, well, they had one, then I had to get another one ordered in, so pretty handy. I'm sure for what it's going to be doing, that'll be fine. That's it. Okay, I'll do a mock-up of how it's all going to fit up. Like obviously I don't know exactly where this fits on the shaft, this wheel. So we'll just put it where I reckon, which I have no idea. So then bearing goes on. We'll just slip one of them down. Bearing goes on that way. These have a steel cup that fit over the side and bolt to the frame, because the frame of the bandsaw goes in between the two bearings. And then there's just an outer bearing on this end. That's it. That's how it fits up. You've got to be happy with that. I'm pretty happy with it. Well, there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was something a bit different. Helped my brother out. So I've just got to get it back to him now, and then he can fit it up and start using his bandsaw again. But I'm pretty happy with the way all that turned out. And it'll give the bandsaw a few more years of life. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. I probably skipped over a bit of stuff, but I just sort of wanted to get it done. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Hooroo.